Okay,
Okay,
perfect. Thank you for being patient with me.
that's fine. Now,
Okay.
I don't know where the recording goes. I've never recorded something.
Okay, it should go. Are you on your computer right now?
Yeah,
So when the meeting is over, it should save to your files, and then it'll be able to be sent
I'll
in
send
any
it to
single
you.
way.
Okay.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. All right.
Okay. So
So,
what key life experiences have formed who I am today? Wow. I
yes.
believe that every life experience that happens to somebody forms who they are, both the good and the bad.
Mhm.
And I like to think that every single life experience I've ever had has gone into, like, not that we draw lines anymore, but when I used to draw lines, would go into every line that I drew, because it it's all your life experience that goes into what you're doing and how you're thinking. So when I look at my life experiences, how do I whittle this down? Wow. I had very creative parents. My father was an engineer and a jazz musician. And he was an engineer by day and a professional musician by night. And then my mom was a stay-at-home mom, but she made a lot of her own clothes, not out of trying to save money, but just out of being creative. Because my dad's a professional musician, she would go every Friday night with him to his job. That was the deal. Like, all the wives would come on Friday night, and she was of the camp where you never wear the same outfit twice to the same group of people. So like, she made an evening outfit every week.
Oh my God,
Which is
wow.
insane when I think about that now, but I mean, they had closets of beautiful clothing, and I always thought the definition of adult was a man who had a closet full of tuxedos and a woman had a closet full of evening wear, and I'm
Mhm.
like, that is where I don't have that life,
Mhm.
but that's almost movie star life, and
Oh,
but they
definitely.
were incredibly creative people, and they were always working on the house. They were always remodeling the house themselves. I mean, my parents had such overwhelm, and I'm not surprised when I look at everything that they took on and on their plates. So there's a downside to all that, which I got to see them flame out. Just they were burning the candle at too many ends, and then stuff started to not work because of that.
Mhm.
Um, so I think the key experiences are, you have to you have to find what you're passionate about and then go after it, but also don't take on so much that you can't sustain it.
Mhm.
I'm huge about balance in life and making sure I get enough sleep, and making sure I eat right. And I wasn't that way when I'm younger, but then I've gotten, I had flamed out myself, and I'm back to, I get 9 hours of sleep every night,
Mhm.
just because that's what my body does best on. And I eat really well, like really, really well, healthy, healthy, healthy. I quit drinking. Not that drinking was ever a problem, but I don't even touch the stuff now because it's like, it's just not good for you. It's a toxin in your body.
Mhm.
So I think you go through life. I'm trying to think the other key experiences. So we lived in a close-in Chicago suburb, and my father was always bringing us downtown. Like, every Saturday, he would take he had a professional singing coach, and we would take the L downtown and go to his singing class, and I would sit in the waiting room. And then afterwards, we'd go to the Art Institute, or we'd go to Carl Fisher looking for sheet music, or we'd walk around downtown or go to Central Camera or something. It was just like my day with Dad, and having a really fun time, you know?
Yeah.
and being downtown and taking the L, and just just knowing that this is just how you get around.
Mhm.
And being in the city and making it your own and not being afraid to go here or not being afraid to go there. And I don't have those fears about being in the city and being afraid of anything. This is
Mhm.
my home, you know, and when I was about 12, we moved further out into the suburbs. And, you know, because my father wanted us to have a bigger yard and he thought he was going to send us to a nicer school. And it wasn't a nicer school, it was a bigger yard, but it just, I couldn't wait. He moved us from a community where you could walk to a grocery store and walk to stuff to a community where you couldn't even go get a gallon of milk without getting in the car and driving someplace. And I hated that. I just, until I got my driver's license, I was so landlocked. And then I got my driver's license and I'm like, what? I got to burn fossil fuels to go to a friend's house? Really? I've been irritated about our society's environmental stance ever since I was like 6 or 7 years old. And so that's another key life experience for me. When I was in first grade, our teacher said, you know, bring in Polaroid pictures, because everybody had a Polaroid back then. Bring in Polaroid pictures of environmental stuff that isn't good in your neighborhood. And I realized I could stand on my front porch and look at a belching smokestack. And I'm like, oh, wow, we're breathing that, you know?
Mhm. Yeah.
So it just opened my eyes and they've been opened ever since.
Wow.
So I guess in summary, hanging out downtown with my dad as a young child, the first grade teacher talking about the environment and 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 taking a look around and really noticing what's not good and the way we're treating it. I think my parents kind of flaming out and that was a whole, like, take care of yourself. Don't do that. Be good to yourself. The world, it's not that you can't take on huge amounts of things, but do it smart. It's about working smart, not working craziness and trying to cheat sleep and stuff like that. So
Definitely.
anyway,
Wow. Well, wonderful answer. I think that's really interesting to know how those life experiences affected you and made you who you are today. And I think that leads on to the next question of how did you become passionate and involved with Chicago?
well, I think it was my dad bringing us down here, especially me at a younger age. I just always have loved the city and always wanted to, as a kid, spend more time down here. It was always the more exciting place to be. And I just it's just a love for the city. And then now the city is hurting and it's in trouble. And I feel like it's a friend who needs help. And I don't, you know, I brainstorm about what does it really need and what can I do to help. And I'm not sure I've figured out the answers to those questions. But I know it's going to come back from the troubles that it's having now.
Mhm.
I know that this is a short-lived temporary situation that is troubling in many ways across our whole country and our whole society. And Chicago and the other big cities that are having strife are going to recover from this. And we're going to do it by everybody being nicer to everybody around them and ending this the strife on all levels, whether it's socioeconomic, whether it's racial, whether it's all the different problems that we're having. We're going to recover from this. And I try to be the solution rather than the problem, but I'm not sure I'm doing a good job of that yet.
Definitely. I feel like all these questions really tie into each other.
Yeah.
The next one is what are your core values and how are they reflected in your work?
I'm a giver person. I always want to be putting out more than what I'm getting back. So, that being said, I'm very much into sustainability. I want the world to use less carbon and use less fossil fuels. I want us to be driving less and be less car dependent and have more walkable communities.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to turn myself into a developer of a community of green homes with a walkable downtown where, I insist on living in a neighborhood where I could walk to a decent grocery store. Now, granted, I am privileged and I can afford to live in a neighborhood where I could walk to a decent grocery store because a lot of people want that and don't have it. And that pains me.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm also very spiritual, and I just want there to be a more love-based society than where we're at now with all the strife. But
Definitely.
let's put sustainability down as the greatest core value, because I feel like that, given my career, is the biggest thing that I could work on.
Yeah, I think that's very important. Let's see. So we have, why is Chicago a great city?
Because it has everything. And we just have to work on the right balance, and we will get there. And we will get more equanimity for everybody involved. Whether it's better, I think better schools need to be a huge part of the answer. Better schools so that kids can grow up with the skills they need to find work, to get work, less racism so that everybody can find work. Now we've got the migrants being bused here. There's a hotel very close to my office that's full of migrant people. And it's just, my heart goes out to them.
Mm-hmm.
And now they're fighting about they can't work because they don't have the proper authorization. I'm like, just why don't you make it legal for that? Just forget all the paperwork for getting them to work. Just let them work and don't go after their employers for giving them jobs. Try that,
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, it just bothers me how everything has to be so bureaucratic.
Yeah.
Chicago's a great city because it's got everything and it's going to get the balance right, and we're going to figure this out.
Yes, definitely. And I think that there's a lot of opportunities that can be created in the city as well, because it is so big and because it has so much.
And despite what people say, there's enough money here to do it all. There really is. It's so wrongly distributed, but there's enough money here to do it all.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. So what causes, projects, and activities are you involved with that maybe tie into your core values and your mission?
Well, the sustainability. We're designing net zero homes. I'm very much a proponent of raising the requirements in the building code, energy code section because the more insulation we put in our homes, the less people will spend in energy bills and fossil fuels to heat their homes or cool their homes.
Mm-hmm.
So sustainability around all buildings, I believe, is key. And that's both new buildings and rehab buildings. So I'm involved in that, both for my clients and then in the bigger community. Let's see. We were just the architects for this very large recycling center that I'm very proud of, and we're doing other work for that same client. So there's more recycling centers coming.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and that's important.
Doesn't Chicago have, what is their policy with recycling?
You throw it out separate from the garbage, but all the recycling, the paper, the glass, and the plastics are all in the same bin. And then they go to these recycling centers and they get sorted mostly through technology. a few years ago, it was people standing there with gloves on, separating it all and putting it on the right piles. But now it's mostly with eye readers and separating stuff and doing it by weight. And there's some people along the path to make sure it's working, but very few people, and mostly machinery to do it.
That's amazing.
It is
That is
amazing.
amazing. All right. How do you collaborate with other groups and individuals to realize your impactful work?
How do I collaborate? Well, I'm a consummate team player, meaning, every project I'm working on is a team. On many of them, I'm the designated leader.
Mhm.
Some of them I'm not, but most of the time, as the architect, I'm the designated leader. And it's just a spirit of being kind and being firm and having a goal and making sure everybody on the team understands what the goal is, and then encouraging everybody to do their part to fulfill on the goal. Like the kind of teams I'm on, I'm the architect, but there's a structural engineer and there's a mechanical engineer and there's a civil engineer, and then I've got people in the architecture firm under me, and everybody's got a piece of the pie, but everybody has to be moving in the same direction.
Mhm.
So it's communicating, like, let's say something changes and everybody needs to know about the change. That has to get out. Prior to that, there's the ground rules for the whole project. This is what the client wants. We write that up. That gets disseminated out. So everybody's working on the same script, and everybody is going in the same direction. And that to me, that's just like a no-brainer, and it's so easy to happen. And I don't understand how some people struggle with that.
Yeah, definitely. I think working together is something that helps everyone move forward at a faster pace than just maybe one person doing it at
Yeah, but it's gotta be a really well stated, understood goal. And everybody really has to understand the goal. And sometimes you think, well, that's easy, but no, sometimes it's not easy.
Mhm.
Because everybody listens through their own filter. Like,
Mhm. Yeah, like everyone has maybe different ideas and opinions about things, and um I feel like that's with a lot of things in life too, with working in groups or working with other people to accomplish a goal. Sometimes I think that there can be issues with that, but I do agree with you on how everyone needs to be on the same level of this is the goal and this is how we're going to get there.
yes.
Uh, Let's see, what other creators who are focused on similar causes, projects, and activities have influenced you?
Oh, I just got the notice that this is gonna end in 10 minutes.
Oh, oh, really?
Yeah. Cause it's the free one. We should have done it on cause I pay for Zoom, so there's no time limit on mine.
Oh,
So-
okay.
So if we have to keep going, well, shoot, we're not gonna be able to. The tape will end. Okay.
Well, we only have these last two questions.
Let's try and finish it up. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
What other creators who are focused on similar causes, projects, and influence and activities have influenced you? Wow, I am not somebody. Who has influenced me?
Like maybe in the past or um growing up, other creators that might have influenced you, or maybe your style.
I've got more people in my life that I said, I don't want to be like that.
Oh, yeah.
But I guess that's an influence, right?
Yeah, I mean,
I've
self-influence.
worked for people that would stab their coworkers in the back in a heartbeat, and I'm like, I don't want to be like that. Or I've
Yeah,
worked for people that would lie, cheat, and steal, and I'm like, I'm not going to be like that.
yeah.
And let's see. I tell you what, my whole past is littered with people I don't want to be like. Um,
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to have anger management issues. I used to, I no longer do. Um, but then when it comes to books and I like Tesla, like I don't mean the car manufacturer, I mean the guy, Tesla.
Mm-hmm.
I've got an autobiography on my nightstand. I can't wait to start it for him. Or it's not an autobiography, it's a biography. I love biography, and I love reading about other people that have just not accepted the norm and did not just swim upstream like a salmon.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I want to I put on a pedestal people that have dared to think the way they want to think and do something different. And I have not known too many people like that in my life,
Mm-hmm.
other than my dad and maybe my mom. But like I said, they weren't successful at it. So it's
Yeah.
like, how do you do that and then be successful at it? Right.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
So the jury's still out on number 7.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that's really cool how you recognized that you don't want to be like these other people and you want to sort of create your own path for as far as who you want to be as a person.
Right.
I
Right.
think that's really cool.
Thank you. What would you recommend you do, Madeline does, to become a future creator of Chicago?
Yes.
Know your heart. Know what you really want to do and what really passionately turns you on. That, because when you love your job, it's like having fun every day,
Mm-hmm.
truly. So I just heard a song that was to that effect. It's like, I don't need to go on vacation because every day is fun. And that's really how I live my life. I know I told you I went on 3 vacations this summer, but it wasn't vacations to escape. It was vacations to go learn about a new place and to go
Yeah.
spend time with people that I don't get to spend time with. It wasn't about escaping my life, because I love my life and I love my job. And I think everybody deserves that. So that build a life that is always about what you love and fill it with people you love, and don't have a life that you have to go to Cancun from every 6 months to escape.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm not
Definitely.
saying don't go to Cancun. I've never been there, but to me, it's like not high in my list of places I want to go, because I feel like the lemmings go there. But I want, but it's like, go live a life that you love, and then travel because you want to go to those places, not because you need an escape from your life.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. I do think that that's really important to love what you do.
Right. And you're on the right track. I mean,
Mhm.
if you chose a major that you love, and then now you got to decipher, what about it do you love? What's the niche that you love?
Yeah,
Is it, you seem to be like a people person,
I do. I do
right?
like people a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm a little bit more of an introvert. I can be people oriented, but then I have to go like hide away for a few hours.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you're really a people person, there's too many introverts in this industry. So being a people person, you can have a position where you're more project management and talking on the phone all day long and stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely.
Are you a real organized sort?
I would say as I've gotten older, I'm becoming more organized. Especially
That will take you far. It's amazing. It's amazing. I think the world is owned by the people who are highly organized.
yeah, I could see that because when you're not organized, I feel like everything's just a mess, and when everything's a mess, then it just crumbles, I feel like if I don't organize my documents for my architecture class and I have to go through my computer and try and find them, it just makes life so much harder than it needs to be.
Right. Here's the other thing, know your history. Because if people that don't know history are bound to repeat it. And there's too many good, juicy new things to go do instead of repeating the same mistakes we've made before. Truly.
Definitely.
You know,
Mhm.
there's so much great history out there to know, whether it's history about things that women have done, or history about what architects have done, or history about inventors. You know, there's a lot of great history out there, and there's so much history written
Mhm. I agree.
that would be a cool thing to understand. We have 2 minutes and 30 seconds left.
Okay.
What else do you want
Well.
to question me about? Because I think I got through the 8, right?
Yes. So that is all I have for questions. I just wanted to say thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to do this. I know that you're a very busy person, so I really appreciate that. And I've learned more about you today, which is really cool.
Well, I'm glad. I think it's so cool what you are doing. Now you're in Phoenix or Tucson?
In Phoenix.
You're in Phoenix. So my good friends that we just went to Park City are from Phoenix. So next time I go to Phoenix to visit them, which might not be for a while, because I just saw them, you know, I'll see
Mhm.
it here in town. But I just think
Yeah.
it's so great what you're doing, and everything Aunt Lynette said about you is absolutely true. And I wish you the absolute most success in your career, and just stay grounded. Don't let anybody talk you into anything. When you feel truth in your heart, don't let anybody sway you from that. Any friend, any professor, any boss, any coworker, know in your heart what is your truth, and you will go far.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
Best way to have a successful life and stay grounded.
That is like the best piece of advice I've ever been given.
Take care.
Thank you so much.
Thank
You
you.
too.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Goodbye.